What's always been fundamental, though, has been the role that the people play and the communities outside of the parks. So we took what Nelson Mandela had to say to heart, and we started looking at ways of how we could empower the communities more. So the whole notion of give more and take less from the environment, have small environmental impact as you can, and give as much as you can to the areas that can potentially influence the park. Give more to the communities outside of the park. By doing this, we were able to look at what the community's needs are, do a proper needs analysis before you've got any money. One of the issues that a lot of donors bump into is they move into a community and say, we want to give you $1 million. So the community's eyes light up and they say, I can get a new bakkie and I can get a new car and I can get, there's a lot of things we can actually get with that money. If you go in there and say, we have no money and we offer you nothing except a chance to sweat. But if you sweat, we might be able to achieve some things. Now, what are your needs in the community? And you do a needs analysis. You get a prioritized needs list out of the community. You've got to involve women, you've got to involve the youth, and you've got to involve all the political parties. In South Africa, they've traditionally been traditional political route and the democratic political route, which are two different routes. So you've got the political parties, the traditional authorities, the women and the youth. You put them all together in a room, and you've got 60 or 70% of the community covered. And that's enough to get consensus to go forward. But you've got to take the time to build that relationship first. Get the needs analysis done once. If you don't, you get a once analysis. And as soon as you start delivering on what the community wants, people are going to throw stones at you, because the person who didn't get the vehicle is going to be saying, I wanted that vehicle, why are you giving it to him? So you start getting a huge issue with a really well-meaning donation, becomes a complete social disaster in the communities and starts unraveling the fabric of society. So what we've done in education in the last while is over 130 classrooms, 20 preschools, 400 desks, 5,000 Hippo water rollers. Now, Hippo water rollers are items that you can use to roll to collect water. They carry 110 liters of water as opposed to that little 25-liter thing that most of the local communities use for water collection. Revolutionizes the time that those communities have got for other things rather than water collection. It has social impact. Education has always been fundamental to all of these rural communities, and they all drive for more. And then, of course, health, which we're all on about, is critical. We've built 3 24-hour clinics, and when we say it's a 24-hour clinics, the staff live on site, which means they can be accessed after hours if there's an emergency. Maternity wards. 120,000 people have now got access to primary health care that never had before this game reserve arrived. So now the community can thank the lions and the elephants for their health improvements, which is the connection that we're trying to make here from a park point of view. Our foundation is community-driven, it's consultative, and we only work with local communities. We don't work for any local communities. A fundamental part of community development is only to work with them. The responsibility that we carry is big. Our staff, 2,500, average dependency rate of 10. 25,000 people depend on us getting the guests in that bed. So suddenly there's a whole different reason for doing the business. There's a different story attached to the motivation of the staff. There's a reason why we're doing this. We're all mad. We all want to make a difference. We want to make a difference because we've got such a big support base that needs us to make a difference. There's a very strong literal link between healthy people and healthy parks for us, and that's simply because of where we operate. The scourge of HIV and AIDS is not that well spoken of in most of the developed world, but it is a major, major issue for us in Africa, and across every country that we operate in, it has differing levels of intensity. But all of them are serious. There is no country in Africa that does not have a serious issue at the moment. So we've had to develop strategies. In the absence of any government strategies that are efficient or effective. Certainly 10 years ago there were none. And we were struggling with this issue 10 years ago. So our staff are our most valued asset. And we engaged with David Patient and Neil Orr, two of the top world-leading positive health trainers, to set up a whole system around natural vitamins, growing foodstuff outside your door so that you can actually access, while you're cooking, fresh food out of the ground. And that's been able to extend the life of HIV-infected staff by up to 5 years before they convert to antiretrovirals. So antiretrovirals obviously when they're available in the countries where we can make them work, are a critical part of the whole HIV intervention program. But this is more important for us because we can do it to absolutely everybody regardless of their status. There's a mistake in this image. Can anybody see what it is? Those women are Maasai. Maasai women live off blood and milk. Okay, knee-deep in vegetables. Because those are the minerals that they need if they're going to fight off this disease that's been introduced into their society. So trying to get complete buy-in from all these varied cultures, whether it's right or wrong or socially acceptable or not, is not relevant for us. What's relevant is the people who are dying, and we've got to stop them from dying, and nobody else is doing that. So these interventions were driven by a very, very basic need. And we've had really good success. Over 30,000 people have been exposed to them, and they're all starting to get more and more acceptance for the program. We've got much bigger food gardens going everywhere. Positive people produce positive outcomes. And the most important part of that whole program is that you have to be positive about living. If you're not positive about living, you're not going to live. You all know how much sugar you take in every day. I don't need to show you how much sugar you take in every day. And these are the kind of posters that we produce for the communities. Things they can understand without even having been able to read. Critical part is trying to bridge that education gap between the communities and what we do. The goal is life, literally. And in our case, that literal goal of giving people exercise, movement in order to stay alive. There's direct links between the fitter you are and your ability to resist the HIV infection and the other diseases that come with it. Direct. So we've got major sponsorship of all this outside activity for our staff to keep them going, to keep them fit. And obviously, with a little, wherever we can, slip in the interventions about safe sex, which is a critical part of preventing the spread of the disease. But women don't play soccer, so we have to use the women in getting them to move. So we use a choir situation where they have to move and sing traditional songs and dance. Every song has to have dance attached to it. So we're getting the women to practice, train for hours a day, and then guess what? They can sing for the guests. And when they come and sing for the guests, that gives them a real feeling like they're making a difference. They're contributing to this business of ours. I'm going to go through the rest reasonably quickly because it's not relevant. But part of connectivity in wild spaces and parks is a vision that we produced in 1991. That slide was in 1991. And we said to our provincial parks and national parks, why do we have to stop in South Africa? Why don't we look at linking all of the important wildlife areas across Africa? We were considered irresponsible in the extreme at the time. Today there are peace parks and transfrontier national parks happening in many of the places depicted in that map. So you've got to have a strong vision, and you've got to have a strong belief that your vision is right. And if you have that, you can move mountains. I believe that all of you and all of us can make a difference. But you have to go out there to make a difference. Thank you very much.